Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. If you're a returning watcher, thanks again for coming back and watching. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. I have a lot of videos about concrete work. In today's video, it's a 24 by 22 concrete slab. It's going to be really geared towards beginners or people who maybe are thinking about doing their own concrete slab. I'm going to share a few tips with you and things you might not consider if you've never been in concrete before. So one of the things to consider is where you're putting this slab. Now this guy, the homeowner here, picked out this piece of property and he owned it obviously, but he hired an excavator, so he hired a guy to come in and dig out the existing soil. Now you can kind of see what the dirt looks like around this thing. That's what was there. So the excavator, he ended up digging out about 2 feet of this stuff and then putting back about 18 inches of what we call 3/4 inch crushed gravel, and he put it in there in a couple lifts and compacted it really good and hard. And that left a good base for us to come in and do our thing. Now you can see there's 2 inches of styrofoam under this slab. We live in Maine, and Maine gets a lot of freeze and thaw cycles in the winter, so the frost can go down at least 4 feet deep in the ground. But if you use 2 inches of styrofoam like this and you have a really good gravel subbase, that's going to protect the ground from freezing in most cases, and your slab won't move. So we found this method works best for freeze and thaw areas, and that's why we're doing it here. So that's one thing you might want to consider if you're doing a slab for yourself and you live, in probably half the U.S. is kind of like this, at least the northern halves of it. Put some 2 inches of styrofoam under it, and your slab's probably never going to freeze underneath it, as long as you don't have gravel under there or dirt under there that's like loam or clay or something like that. Then all bets are off. So another thing you got to take into consideration is being able to set up the forms properly. So the slab, when you're pouring the concrete in it like we are right now, the forms don't move. And you want to also set those forms to grade. If you're new to this, if the top of the form is set right to slab grade, that's going to make screeding the concrete a little bit easier, as you'll see here a little bit later on in the video. So getting the forms up. Now I have a course that teaches you how to do all this. I have a concrete slab course, or you can join my private training, the Concrete Underground. Either place you'll learn how to do a slab just like this. You'll also learn how to finish it, whether you're going to finish it by hand or if you want to power trowel finish it. That's the place to go. But making sure you can see we're using 2x12s here, and then the slab kind of steps up into the middle so it's 6 inches thick in the middle where we're pulling up the wire right now. But the edges are a little bit thicker, a little bit beefier, because that's where all the weight of the garage is basically going to sit. Now this homeowner, he's going to put a row of block down, so concrete blocks, and then he's going to build his slab on top of that. So basically it's just a single story slab with a truss roof. Not really a super heavy garage, but this is what he wanted. He wanted the double mat or rebar around that outside edge like that, and then the 6x6 1010 wire mesh is what we call it. It's a light gauge wire mesh. Plus we also have fiber mesh in the concrete, and it's 4,000 psi concrete, just to give you a little idea what kind of concrete mix we're using. And we also use water reducer in the concrete. That lets us pour a little bit more of a flowable slump without adding water. So that's a key ingredient to help your concrete stay a little bit stronger. So getting back to the forms real quick. 2x12s we got here, so the edges are good and thick. We use those metal pins to keep the forms in place. Now you can use wooden stakes if you want. We set up so many slabs, the metal ones last forever, and they got holes through them, so we can screw right through the metal pin into the form to hold it in place. So we'll screw the forms all together, the size of the slab, and then we'll get it squared, put in place. And then we'll get our pins put in to hold the form so they don't move after we square it. And then we'll set up our laser. We have a self-leveling rotary laser we set up, and we use that to help get our grades all set. And then we screw the forms in place. And you can see Luke's kind of tweaking the forms. We got a string set up right down the center of those forms on the top, and we eyeball that as we pour to make sure the forms stay straight. And we put in those kickers. We call them kickers. They're kind of braces, those 2-foot 2-bys we got in with another metal pin behind them. We put those in to help keep the form straight, because there's a lot of pressure when the concrete's 12 inches thick on the outside edge. Sometimes we got to add a couple here and there if we don't put in enough. And then sometimes we actually have to tap those outwards a little bit, because when we first set them, we set them so the 2x12 form is pushed in maybe like 1/8 of an inch from center. That way when the concrete hits it, you know, if it does want to move out just a little bit, it moves it back out to center. If it doesn't, then we just tap those stakes backwards a little bit. And then as far as pouring, you know, you want to get your concrete, you want to get it set up in advance. So you want to call a week or two in advance, get it on the schedule. You want to get it for first thing in the morning. You want the first round of trucks if you can. And you may not be able to do that, but I would highly recommend getting it for like 6:30, 7 a.m. in the morning, especially if your temperature is going to be really hot during the day. You don't want to be pouring the concrete, being a beginner, not really knowing a lot about it, not really knowing how much working time you got with the concrete. You don't want to be pouring something like this in the middle of the afternoon when it's 90 degrees out. So get it for 7 a.m. Call good and early, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in advance, maybe get it lined up for a day. And then you're going to just have to keep watching your weather. Make sure the day you pour, you don't want any chance of rain. No showers, no anything. You want it to be good and dry. If you do, if there is a good chance of rain or something, you just want to cancel and reset. Like, don't take a chance. If it rains on this thing, like if it started raining right now, if it had a good hard downpour right now, it's really going to mess up the surface of this concrete. And, you know, we'd be able to fix it because we know what we're doing. It's happened to us plenty of times. But not knowing what you're doing, you're probably going to end up messing this up. And the surface of that concrete's going to be so weak, it's probably going to peel off somewhere down the road, and you're going to end up with a really bad surface to your concrete slab. All right, so we're getting back to the pouring. You got your concrete ordered. It's pour day. Your concrete shows up. You know, you want to get him backed up to the slab. Be prepared. You know, his chutes will reach about 18 feet off the back of the truck or off the front of the truck if you have a front end dump. So if you can't quite reach the back, you might need to rent a spare chute like we had on there in the beginning. You usually can rent those at a rental company. And then, you know, you're going to want to start at the back and work your way towards the front, kind of like what we're doing here. Now we got 2 trucks. First truck's empty. Second truck's already here. He's off the screen a little bit, but he's going to be driving in as soon as this guy backs out of the way. So then we mag float our edges, as you can see. We'll just get a mag float even with this top of the slab to make sure the edges stay nice and clean and neat as we screed the concrete. And then we shot what we call a wet pad in the middle, right even with the top of the form, using the laser. So again, I teach you all this stuff in the slab course. You don't have to worry about remembering it all right now, but just showing you basically the method, the technique of how to get a slab poured. Now we do it in sections, so this one's basically going to be done in quarters. We're doing the first quarter of it right here. That's a 12-foot screed. We don't have it like the slab width right there is 22 feet. We don't have a 22-foot wide screed, otherwise I guess you could go across the whole thing. The widest one we have is 16 feet. So we'll use one at least half the width of the slab and, you know, make a pad in the middle like we did. Give ourselves strike that off. Give ourselves something to go by in the middle of the slab. And then we'll just run the screed across it like this. Now, if you're a beginner, if you're new to concrete, you're probably not going to be able to kick screed like what Luke is doing in the middle. He's kicking his feet as he's screeding backwards, but that's okay. You can just kind of stand there and pull the screed 3 or 4 times and get it to where you need it, and then just step back. It's going to take you quite a bit longer to do that, but it's possible to do it that way. Luke's, you know, as he's screeding there in the middle, he's looking at the end of his screed, making sure he's scoring. You can kind of see a little bit of a line he's leaving there down the middle of the slab as he's screeding that thing. And that means he's right at the level he wants to be at. And then this is what we call bow floating. This is kind of like pushing down the aggregate right at the surface, getting it just below the surface. And when you do that, you bring up a little bit of the paste, a little bit of the cream. Get that surface nice and smooth. And that's going to be your stage you leave it at before you start finishing the concrete. So you want to make sure this part is really good right here. That's why he's kind of going over it twice. He's trying to close up all the little holes in the surface left by screeding. So we're just waiting for that first truck to back out of there, get out of the way, and then the second truck to get out around him, get down this really long driveway, and then we're going to get him backed up and mixed up. Now, if your slab's small enough, you know, you might be able to get it all with one truck. This one's taken about, I think it was like 18 yards. One concrete truck will hold about 10 and a half yards, at least in our state. That's legal for driving over the roads. So Luke, the guy that's bull floating right now, he's kind of new. Bull floating's relatively easy to learn. You can see as he's pushing it forward, he's making sure the front of that is tipped up a little bit, and then he's tipping up the back just a little bit as he's pulling it backwards so those edges don't dig in. And he's just going you know, in one like nice even slow motion. He's not stopping and starting anymore, and he has to. Just right back and forth is kind of what you want to do. And that's kind of as easy as bull floating is. We overlap the edge just a little bit as we bull float, and then if you can't quite reach all one way, but you can step out around the slab, you can see he was just finishing off his edges right there. So second guy shows up, you tell him to mix up, you tell him what slump you want. We generally pour about a 6-inch slump, 6.5. So we just tell him, you know, hey, mix it up to about a 6. Take a look at it. If you don't think it's a 6 or a slump is like how stiff or how loose the concrete is. It usually goes from like 1 to 10. And, you know, we like what you see right there coming out of the chute is about what we call a 6-inch slump. So it's pretty loose. If it was a lot stiffer than that, then it, you know, you'd call it like a 3-inch slump or a 4-inch slump. And that's just the way they test the concrete when you have a test guy here to see how loose it is or how dry it is. That's a pretty good pourable slump right there if you're new or if you're a beginner. And then you can see as we're moving the chute back and forth, we got a guy kind of right behind the chute. He's kind of knocking the concrete down. He's pushing a little bit up. He's pulling a little bit back, and he's trying to get it right to slab height if he can, but definitely not lower than slab height. If he's a little bit higher than slab height, like that's not a bad thing. You just don't want to be a lot higher, and that takes a little bit of practice to get used to. So little Luke there, we call him little Luke, young Luke, he's kind of what we call, he's breaking down the concrete, getting it ready for us to screed. Now Darren's over there by me. I'm holding the chute. Now Darren's coming in behind the chute, and he's just kind of pushing and pulling it, leveling it off, getting it as close to grade as he can. Now Darren's really experienced. He's been doing this over 30 years. Luke over there way on the right, kind of fixing the form. He's putting in another kicker over there. He's got over 25 years of experience. So the form bowed out a little bit right in there. So he ended up going and getting another kicker and another metal pin, driving that in there, and he's just banging it in that one little section to straighten the form out a little bit. You can see we pour out quite a bit of concrete before we screed it. Now, if you're brand new, you might not want to pour out quite this much. Maybe you could just pour out like a quarter of the slab, get that screeded, do another quarter. But you got to know that you've only got so much time to work with a concrete truck before they start charging you for extra time. Most companies, you'll get 7 or 8 minutes per yard, which is actually quite a few if you think about it. So 10 yards would be, 70 minutes, a little over an hour to get that truck dumped out. Whereas, it probably took us to do that first truck, it probably took us 10 minutes to get it dumped out, maybe. You can see, and we're not really pouring that fast. That's really not a fast pace. It's just kind of steady, slow and steady. You want to make sure the two guys raking that they can keep up with the flow of concrete coming out of the chute. And I don't want to bury them with concrete, and just kind of dump concrete everywhere and not have them being able to keep up. So this will end up being a garage slab for this homeowner. He's gonna have a couple of garage doors in that front. Again, he's putting a roll block around here. He's got a guy that's gonna help him build it. He just didn't want to do the concrete by himself. He's a little bit older guy. You can see him right there. And he knew how to do it. He's done them before, you know, in the past, but he just didn't feel he wanted to do this by himself. So there we are, striking it off again. Now I'm going right off the top of the form, and I'm letting Luke kind of dictate the pace of the screed because he's inside the slab in the concrete. And I'm just kind of following his pace. You can see as we're using a magnesium screed. You could use a really straight 2x4 for that if that's all you got. But we're not kind of cutting it in with the front edge. We're kind of tipping it slightly on the back and using that back edge. And that doesn't rip and tear apart the concrete quite as much. It kind of closes it up a little bit as you screed the concrete. You don't have to saw that screed back and forth. You can just kind of pull it like we're doing in kind of small pieces. And then the guys in behind, you know, we're lucky there's 4 of us here today. The guys in behind are just raking the concrete and making sure that we're not too low. Me and Luke, as we screed, we want to make sure the concrete's a little bit high behind us so we can pull back that high. You can see how it fills in the slab, makes it look really good. And that's part of getting it level right there. I mean, that's the basic way you're going to pour a concrete slab. Now we left it a little bit low in that corner for a reason. If we don't want to get too much concrete in the slab forms themselves and then get right down to the very end and have like 10 wheelbarrows of concrete too high and have to shovel that out into the driveway. So we usually leave a little bit of low spot there right at the very end just to make sure we're not too high. And if we are high, we can then just pull it into that low spot and we don't have any to shovel out. In this case, you know, because we know what we're doing, we left it low and then we had him run just a little bit to fill that in. And now what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning out his chutes the best I can. We just need like another bucket or 2 of concrete in there, so I'll clean his chutes out. And then when he goes to rinse his chutes off, you know, on the side of the driveway, he doesn't have to rinse all that extra concrete over the side of the driveway into the ditch. Now the homeowner, all he wanted to do for the blocks is have us stick in some rebar upright. So that we cut some pieces about 16 inches long. They're number 4 rebar. That's 1/2 inch rebar. And we're just going to slide them in the edges. So remember, a concrete block is 8 inches wide by about 16 inches long. So he went around, he pre-measured some areas every 4 feet or so, and he just kind of made a mark on the form where he wants us to stick those pieces of rebar. And I'm going to show you how I do that here in a second. This is how we just finish up screeding right to the edge of the form. And then if we do have a little bit of high, we'll just rake it out over the edge. We're not going to worry too much about it. And then clean that edge up with a mag, and then Luke can just bow float, get everything bow floated. You can see how nice and smooth that is after you bow float. So we'll end up power troweling this. That's all already in the concrete underground, the power troweling, or the concrete slab, of course. Because we have a lot of power trowels, you could just finish this by hand. You could mag float it out, go over it by hand with a hand trowel 2 or 3 times. You get it really smooth. I teach you how to do that too. If you don't want to rent a power trowel or you don't know how to use a power trowel, get a pretty nice finish. You're probably going to want a little better finish on your slab floor or your garage floor than just a bow float like this. Just you want it a little bit smoother, a little bit harder, a little bit denser, and it's going to just clean up a little bit better. But that's basically how you do it. So if you're a beginner and you want to pour, you know, a DIY concrete slab, a beginner concrete slab for 2025, this is going to be how you do it. Again, the link to join my training is down in the description of this video, or you can go to my website, everythingaboutconcrete.com. Look for the tab that says training videos. Click on that, and then all my training videos will come up there. You can check them out. But if you got any questions, leave them down in the comments of this video. I do my best to try to get back to all the comments if I can. And then if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button, share this video with anybody you think might need sharing it. And here I am just putting in the upright for the concrete blocks. I think he's putting 2 rows on actually, so I'm leaving it up a little bit higher than the 8 inches. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.